hilltop, a lonely hilltop, you might call it, where we can see much of southern Scotland. In fact, we can see quite a lot of Scotland in general from up here. And on top of Soutra is, or was, what's called a hospital, which was instituted at least 900 years ago. About 1174, I think, was the first mention of Soutra Hospital. What we can see here is a burial vault of the Pringle family. But these grounds would have been an extensive set of buildings. Looks like a guess. And we can see down towards Edinburgh. So over there you've got the Pentland Hills, and there is Arthur's Seat, and Edinburgh is under that. So we're about 15, 20 miles away from Edinburgh here, something like that. So a hospital it's called. There, this stone is certain to mark the site of the ancient sanctuary and once powerful hospice of Soutra. Incidentally, it's very windy, which is why I've got my hood up and using my AirPods. It's very windy today. So a hospital, it's called that, but it really have been a combination of hospital and hotel and monastery. The monks that lived here would take in travellers, because this is on a major road. They'd take in travellers and they would take in people who needed help, medicinal help, as they went past. So hello everybody, little Gary and AG&C and Luke, welcome. So we can see just where the wind turbines are. You might be able to just about see the A68, the major road there. You can just about see some traffic going past on the A68. But, thank you, D. Pauly, geek on indeed. This is the where the Roman road Deer Street was. And then after that, it was called the Via Regia, or the King's Way, or the Royal Road. And it was the major road for, well, still is, if you count the A68, the major road between Scotland and England, one of the major roads, for, 2,000 years. And that's why the hospital was placed here, because it was on the road. And people would come past, travellers would come past. And kings and armies and traders and everybody would come up the Royal Road, up Deer Street, if they were going to Edinburgh or if they were going down to York or London, into England. They would come past here. And as I say, there was a hospital or a sanctuary or a hotel, and the monks would try to treat people with whatever was bothering them, whatever their medical needs were. The monks would come here. Monks would be here as people came past. And it was a very powerful place, very powerful. They had a lot of land here, and they would take money. Presumably, they'd take money or other offerings from their patients and their guests, and they would perform their monthly duties. Let's go and have a look at this interpretation pattern. Well, monks and drugs, yes, definitely. Because under our feet, there is archaeological evidence of medicines. Medicines being grown here, or medicines that would have been imported from elsewhere. So let's have a look at the panels here in this modern, as you can see, this is, modern brickworks. This modern interpretation panel here. So it says here, midway between Edinburgh and the magnificent border abbeys, where we were just Saturday. We were at Dryborough and Melrose the week before, and Jedburgh soon, Saturday. Midway between Edinburgh and the magnificent border abbeys, from the 12th century to the 17th century, stood the Soutra Medieval Hospital, a refuge for wayfarers and the needy, high on the Royal Road, the main Anglo-Scottish highway. Midway still on modern roads is the site of the Great Hospital, the spectacular viewpoint, the Memorial Aisle, and the unique archaeomedical investigations. Was there any monkey business? Oh, definitely. We'll have a look at the drugs in a minute. Soutra was dedicated as the House of the Holy Trinity at Soutra, run by the Master and Brethren of the Augustinian order. Charters tell us that it looked after the poor, travellers and pilgrims, the aged, and of course the sick and infirm. In fact, a general hospital stressing poor relief. All was funded from the income from vast hospital estates, clustered mainly in the Lothians along the Royal Road, the Via Regia, towards Edinburgh, about 20 square miles. So 20 square miles of land for this hospital that they would use. First heard of in AD 1164, when King Malcolm IV, you can't what while I'm live? What? You, I can't you while you're alive. What? King Malcolm IV confirmed, but the now lost Foundation Charter. The founder and circumstances of the foundation remain a mystery. From AD 1164 to circa 1320, Augustinians, summer monks, they're definitely monks. Soutra inexorably gained land and wealth and grew in power despite being in a war zone. The 14th century heyday resulted from the generosity of thankful patients and their heirs. After 1399, Soutra gained only urban lands, a lot in Edinburgh. Soutra's decline followed a major scandal in the 1460s when a renegade master, Stephen Fleming, was finally deposed after many offences had been reported to the papal authorities. The Scottish Crown confiscated the hospital estates, apart from Soutra itself, reassigning them to the new Trinity College Hospital, which is now beneath Edinburgh Waverley Station. Other different orders ran all these facilities. Well, this was run by Augustinians, but as we've seen with Dryburgh and Melrose, there was a variety of different monks in southern Scotland, like the Turnetians and the Premonstratensians as well. Where was it? Yes, so underneath Edinburgh Waverley, if you've ever got the train to Edinburgh, you'll have been on the Trinity College Hospital. With the royal signature, Soutra was impoverished and a hospital of international status reduced to local significance. Edinburgh's gain laid foundations for it to become a medical centre of international renown, which it still is, while the Soutra Hospital struggled on to 1650. Hello, James. As Soutra shrank, buildings were removed, so they're all gone now. All the buildings have been removed. Buildings were removed and the site converted from gardens and waste dumps into predictably fertile farmland, hence the cows and the sheep and the trees and some crops, leaving only Soutra Aisle. Aisles were family burial vaults built mainly in southeast Scotland after the church banned monuments inside churches in 1590. Seems a little like a high street, different retailers wanting to be in the same area. Yeah, well, that's true. Yes. Well, they were invited in, but yeah, true. Weathered and mellowed pinky red sandstone. It's kind of pinkish. Pinky red sandstone from the hospital is much used in the Isle. The lintel is dated 1686 and inscribed to the Pringles, DP and AP. Soutra Aisle acts as a monument to the once powerful hospice of Salter. That gives into the Isle. So let's have a look at the Isle. So this is comparatively modern. This is only the 1600s. You can see it 1686, DP and AP. So we've talked about the Pringles before, the Pringle family, and this is their burial vault, or one of their burial vaults here. Can't get in because of the lock, but we can just about see through the iron grate and see the burial vault inside with its domed roof. Really nice. And in here, well, I can see some nettles and some ferns, but there may be growing some very strange plants in here. Possibly. I'll look at that in a second. But it's an interesting place to be buried, that's for sure. Where did we get to? Yeah, I think you're right. The isle is cherished by locals, exiles, and strangers. With it and the investigations attracting over 330,000 visitors. This was put here in 1990, I think. These panels, so far more since then. Bit of renovation, do you think? But notice it's got a triangular roof, but inside it's domed. Why strange plants? We'll get to that. The viewpoint as the hilltop was opened up. So as the buildings were removed and probably trees and stuff were removed, the viewpoint opened up with all the mainland regions of Scotland visible. In guidebooks, it was rightly called the finest view in southern Scotland. I don't know about that. It's a good view. At least 60 major Highland and Grampian peaks can be clearly made out, not on a day like today when the cloud is a little bit low. But the Pentlands, Ochils, Sidlaws, Lomans, the majestic sweep of the Firth of Forth, and more. This unique prospect shows all the diversity of Scotland. See the panorama there. Yeah, all of these hills shown to us 16 miles away, 21 miles away. So that every region in southern Scotland, strange. Triangular roof, yeah, well, for similar reasons, but it's strange that it's got a triangular roof and then a dome inside. I thought that was a bit strange. Right, investigations. What was medieval medicine? Aided by demolition to ground level and excellent preservation of human remains and herbal remains, Soutra Hospital proves an ideal site, according to forensic advisors, for the unique archaeomedical investigations from 86 to now, exploring actual medical practice through the distinctive waste produced. Being Augustinian, it belonged to the order that ran more hospitals than any other. Augustinian medicine was mainstream and well funded. Which recipes were selected and for what purpose and with what outcome for the patient? Making and using medieval medicines leaves waste, which may be interpreted, understood, by consulting medieval recipe collections. These give us a narrative, a guidebook. We enter the physician's mind, share his plans, always he, of course, in a place like this anyway. Share his plans and more that in the best museum we empathize with the patient in his plight. Beyond this, we are in the unprecedented position to evaluate this system of medicine recipe by recipe and ask, did all of it or any of it work? We reconstruct medicines from the mud. That is the uniqueness of the Soutra investigations. And here it's talking about the Royal Road, where we are. And again, we can see more hills. South Black Hill, Castle Law Hill, which is an important one over in that direction. And Lawyers, 72 miles away. 33 miles west. Lomond, 34 miles away. King's Seat, 48 miles. Traprain Law, another very important place over there. I was talking about Traprain Law just last night, in fact. But let's have a look at the medicines here, and the archaeomedical discoveries. 8 clumps of seeds, etc., have been isolated from a careful hand sorting of circa 10 cubic meters of general medical waste. This is a minute volume. It has no parallels elsewhere in medieval Europe because the inputs of effort and expense are too onerous. Thank you, James. In modern archaeology, the characteristic method of sorting seeds out of archaeological deposits is mechanical, flotation, separation through agitation and filtration. Taking, say, a 1 kilogram sample, the seeds are separated and homogenized among themselves. In this manner, such detailed particular information as we get at Soutra is hopelessly coarsened, corrupted, and destroyed. Turn to the positive, we will summarize what medieval and modern medication stand for and what they were claimed to do in the Middle Ages, and to the best of modern scientific information, will stand do. So there was 574 poppy seeds here, 372 of black henbane found in location 1 there, 16 ergots, claviceps purpurea, intermixed with the remains of 200 to 120 juniper berries, 238 seeds of watercress, Also 34 seeds from 14 species of assorted aquatics deemed to be accidental contaminants. 573 seeds of colt's foot, 386 seeds pure of sweet Sicily, abutting onto 614 seeds of bistort, 146 seeds of common valerian, place 7 there, and 11 compressed seeds of mistletoe. So these 8 medicines, 8 seeds that are found here, would be making these recipes. So your black henbane and opium would be a narcotic and an anesthetic drink. So opium is what you use to make heroin. So yes, a narcotic and anesthetic drink taken prior to major surgery, particularly amputation. It is claimed to maintain an unconscious, pain-free state, and it was found 2 inches from a heel bone. So this is the first recipe here, using the seeds of henbane and opium, would be making what you would drink just before having something amputated. Number 2, the ergots and juniper berries. A parturient, a drink that will cause contractions in the womb and induce childbirth. Claimed to work in 20 minutes, 3 to 4 inches from the remains of infants. Place number 2 here. 4A and B is seeds of watercress, a rich vitamin C supplement that is claimed to fix teeth, reverse that symptom of scurvy where teeth become loosened in their sockets, alongside abundant human teeth. So lots of human teeth found here, along with the watercress. Number 5, an anti-congestant, good for all manner of mild respiratory complaints. Number 6, a multivitamin and multimineral supplement. Number 6, that's the sweet Sicily and the seeds of bistort. Number 7, an antidepressant and mild soporific. That's the valerian seeds there. And stinging nettle, merging into a mass of perforate St. John's wort seeds. So an antidepressant, mild soporific. That's a weird, yeah. And finally, number 8, mistletoe, which is used in the treatment of tumours. So the question mark there, we're not sure if these recipes do actually work, but that's what they're supposed to do anyway. And there's somebody having his leg amputated, so he would be taking the narcotic there, the poppy seeds or the heroin, just before having his leg cut off. Ouch, indeed. So he's laying back, and that looks like a kind of a tourniquet there, I think, has been drawn, and a large hacksaw about to go. Yes, mistletoe is used for fun at Christmas time. Not just used in the treatment of tumours, but used for fun as well. Still has its uses. It does. An amputation of a leg in the Middle Ages after a dwale, a sleep-inducing drink, is given to the patient. This relates to the seed mix at number 1. Note also the solitary human heel bone there, and off he goes with his rather nice haircut, and yeah, missing a leg. And there it gets taken away by the monk, who's looks like he's kind of sniffing at it with his tonsor. Notice I think it's quite amusing, they kind of got opposite hairstyles. The patient and the monk, they're kind of like the same hairstyle in reverse. Yeah, so that's an interesting one as well, isn't it? Crippling a wheelbarrow. And I was actually going to show you, where is it? Yeah, here. So here you've got all the hospitals in the southeast of Scotland, all the medieval hospitals. So there'd be here, where we've been recently, there's Dryborough. Melrose is just up here. Dryborough, Kelso and Jedburgh. In this area, a very small area, there were 10 hospitals just in this tiny little part of southeast Scotland, as well as ones at, well, here's Soutra, but there's Musselburgh and Peebles and Biggar and Berwick and Duns and down towards Carlisle on that route down there, and the A68, the Deer Street goes down that way. 59.59 seconds of style. Well, yes, plenty of time. Look what will be happening here. So you've got these massive tall columns, the kind that we've seen at the abbeys, and beneath them you've got all these patients in their beds, and the monks tending to them with their drafts and so on. And you can read some of the rest of that. Oh, incidentally, I should say that I've been here before with my drone and flown over the hospital here, flown over the area and the aisle, the burial vault, which is on it's on YouTube. So if you search on my YouTube for Soutra, 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 you'll be able to find the drone footage of the aisle. And don't forget as well, of course, this is one of the seven history HAPS history broadcasts I'm doing this week for the HAPS History Challenge. You only need to do one if you want to do that, but because I've got so much history here, I decided I'd do one every day for the week. There's a swift up there. There's a long tail. Also, I want to show you here not just the direct history, but the contextual history. So people who have come here with their armies entered the 1st and 2nd of England in the late 13th century, early 14th century. It looks remote. Well, yes and no, because there would be the road coming here. So people would pass by here all the time. So here's where we are, right in the centre of southern Scotland, equidistant between Edinburgh and this area, this very important area, Melrose, Dryborough, Kelsey, Jedburgh. We're halfway up the road here, so it kind of is remote, but this is the highest medieval hospital in the British Isles. And it's unusual for it to be right up the top of a hill like this. So again, we're halfway between those important areas. Yeah, and here again, we've got where you would go to Dunbar and Melrose in England and up to Edinburgh and so on. So surely it comes, yes, it must be Soutra. Nothing to do with sutures, I'm sure. Although I don't know what the etymology is. And it's first recorded in 1164, but very likely it's been around before that. Etymology, yes. There's where is it on one of the panels? I've lost it. Yeah. Where was it? Where was it? Let's see it. It's on one of the panels, exactly how far away we are from all the different places. Well, anyway, we're here in the centre, and we've got all these beautiful places. We've been to Hume Castle recently, for example. Hello, Happy. Been to all of these places, Berwick and Coldingham and Crichton Castle there, St Cuthbert's Way, Dryborough, all these places. So where is Robert the Bruce's grave? Oh, way up further. Robert the Bruce. Way further up. Can't see on that map. But yes, I was showing you here the different armies. So you've got Edward, the English kings there, then James IV and James V, and then the revolution or attempted revolution of Bonnie Prince Charlie coming here. At least 20 major famines are recorded in this part of Scotland, usually progressing up the Royal Road. And 30 major plagues. And I might talk about the famines and the plagues. We might talk about that if I do a witchcraft broadcast at some point, telling you all about the witches who who were executed and why. You're the only James. Well, previously there have been Jameses here. Soutra attacked and burned by the English. Upon the first day of January, the captain of Wark, an English fortress in Northumberland, 30 miles away, named John Kerr, came with the number of 9 score, that is 100, so 9 times 20, 180 men, and burnt Soutra and Fala, the nearest village, and thereafter the lairds of the country followed them and took 24 of their men, but none slain. This ties in with the burned oak doorpost found in situ at the north end of the exposed cobbled passageway. How dare they be previous? Yeah, that's quite right. One might think they pioneered a surgical technique. Possibly. Yeah, but it's good archaeological evidence. Good medical and archaeological evidence found here, as we've seen. And this is how it was done. So there's trenches dug in here. It's all very interesting to be here. And so as I say, there may be interesting, strange plants growing within the Isle because of all the seeds that were being grown here or just being thrown away here. So all this area that you see should have, medical plants being grown here at any time within, say, that 400 or 500 year period when the hospital was, in effect and being used. So there might be strange, like valerian and poppies and so on, being grown here, or growing here, not being grown. Soutra, an international boundary. At the Battle of Neville's Cross, 1345, the Scots, led by David II, were defeated, strangely, and David himself was captured. Lengthy negotiations concerning the king's ransom followed. The victorious Edward III, imposed harsh conditions and moved the Anglo-Scottish border northwards, up to there, the red dashed line. Chroniclers tell us that the new border extended from Coburn's Pass on the Berkshire coast, there, and that far up from Berwick, along the Lammermuir edge to Soutra, and this was agreed to by treaty. The English held the upland to its edge, similar to the way in which the Israelis took and held the Golan Heights from Syria since the 6 Days War, including opium poppers. Yes, exactly. The duration of that boundary change is not known, not when David was ransomed and released in 1357, but in the 1380s when the Battle of Otterburn. I've talked about the Battle of Otterburn a long time ago. Haven't been back there for a few years. Maybe I should do. 1388 restored the status quo ante. That is the original situation, the status quo ante. So this was the English border at one point for a few years. Not for long, though. Not for long. Yes, opium poppies indeed. There. And if we were to go just into those trees, we'd see slight remains of Deer Street. Go back to Battle of Otterburn. So yeah, Battle of Otterburn is a fascinating place. Yes, some good history there and a very beautiful monument. Now, if we go around the back of the aisle, we'll see the gravestones around the back. It's difficult to read. To the memory of John, it says Priggle, of Boatman, Soutra Hill. Also, Henriette, I think. But it's hard to read now. But this isn't particularly old. This is just 1700s. This grave marker on the back of it would have been a window there. But yeah, it's just a burial vault. The borders is plural because there's more than one over time. Well, yeah, there certainly has been a moving border for a few thousand years. Some kind of a border for a few thousand years. You see the dandelions growing on the roof. And I'm just looking to see if the cloud is lifting at all. We can't quite see over to Fife. And we can't quite see up to the Highlands. But you can see the Pentlands just emerging from the low cloud. So it's quite, strange for somewhere so far south to be up high like this and to be able to see all the regions of mainland Scotland. It's unusual. And that is probably a bit of foundation of some building of the original hospital. Yeah, maybe we'll go to Battle of Otterburn. It's in Northern England, so I'd have to make a lightning reaver raid into England at some point. I wonder if the borders were worse than what they are now. Oh, definitely. Very worse. Yeah, but I was saying if we go up this way a little bit into those trees, we would see where Deer Street is, because it went up that way, I believe, up into those into that forest over there and past the ancient medieval wind turbines, which there's quite a few, isn't there? But there you go. That's Soutra Aisle, Soutra Medieval Hospital or Hospice or Hotel. Yeah, we can see some of the hills in the Highlands. It is far away, but we can see on a clear day, as the panel shows you can see a good 70 or 80 miles to the tops of some of the mountains. Whereas this is called Soutra, and the hill is called Soutra, and this is the location of what was a hospital slash hotel slash monastery, which helped people, helped travellers travelling between Scotland and England for about 500 years. This might be the base of a pillar, perhaps. Here. So the archaeology now is under the ground. So all those seeds and the human remains and the blood and the lead and all of that's all found under the ground now. Almost nothing left of the original hospital above the ground. But it was certainly known to be here and is still under the ground even now. And as I say, wonder who cuts the grass? Yes, well, somebody does. It's not the sheep, is it? They're doing this. But somebody cuts the grass. It's usually nice and well kept. So somebody tidies it up from time to time. I don't know who, but somebody does it. I think there's a little Soutra preservation society. Historical comes down here. So tomorrow will be my last HAPS History Challenge broadcast, because it goes from Friday night to Friday night, basically. I have one or two ideas of where I'm going to go and what I'm going to show you, but it's kind of weather dependent. But I do have some ideas as to what my last one's going to be. But then on Saturday, I'll be at Jedburgh Abbey. So I've been to Melrose and Dryborough in the last 2 weeks, and it'll be Jedburgh this week, and then likely Kelso for the final week next week after tomorrow. Better than a lawnmower, yes they are, but they're not as straight and neat as a lawnmower. So it's probably a person with a lawnmower doing this, rather than the sheep doing it in nice straight lines like that. And of course, go back and watch my previous HAPS history broadcasts if you haven't seen them, because I've shown you some interesting places and told you some interesting stories so far, I reckon. But that'll do for now. I will see you again tomorrow. Humans forget history too easily. It's always good to know it. Sadly, I agree with both of those statements. Humans do forget history too easily, and it's good to remember. You'll learn a lot from the past. And don't repeat your mistakes, ideally. Yeah, so like I say, watch my previous HAPS history broadcast from the past week. Easy enough to find. And I'll see you again tomorrow for Jadborough Abbey. No, not tomorrow. I'll see you somewhere tomorrow. Definitely interesting. Glad you think so. And then Jedburgh will be Saturday because I've booked in already. Booked my tickets, my entry time. I've booked that for Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. So I'll see you in Jedburgh for that. And somewhere tomorrow, although I'm not sure where yet. One day we will be history. Yes, we will. Yes, we definitely will. So will those cows. They'll be lasagna soon, probably. Tickets, yes. Well, a free ticket for me because I don't have to pay because I've paid for my membership of Historic Scotland, but you do have to book a particular time at the moment because they only let so many people in at once. So I'm booked in on Saturday for Jedburgh. Right, well, thank you for watching again. Thank you for the awards. Thank you for your comments and your questions, and thanks for being interested. And I will see you all next time, tomorrow, Saturday, and all my usual broadcasts as well. And hopefully, I'll see you for the broadcast of the week tomorrow night. Move yourself. All right, see you all later. Thanks for watching. Cheerio, bye, everyone. Thank you.